This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Alternator replacement. Pull the hood release lever located under the steering column. Slide the hood safety latch, then raise the hood upwards. Partially drain the cooling system to a level that's lower than the upper radiator hose. Cooling system draining. Apply the handbrake. Chock the rear wheels to prevent the vehicle from rolling. Then raise the front of the car and support it on jack stands. Remove the radiator cap. Turn the ignition switch on, but do not start the engine. Set the heater temperature control all the way to hot or to the highest temperature setting. Wait for 10 seconds, then turn the ignition switch off. Move a large container under the radiator drain to catch the coolant. Using a large screwdriver, open the radiator drain plug and direct the coolant into the container. Once the coolant has drained completely, close and tighten the radiator drain plug. Loosen the cable nut on the negative battery terminal, then disconnect the negative battery cable. Position the cable aside to prevent accidental reconnection. Loosen the hose clamps, then remove the air intake duct between the air filter housing and the throttle body. Rotate the belt tensioner counterclockwise with a square drive to release the tension on the drive belt. Slip the belt off of an accessible pulley, then slowly release the tensioner to its stopping point. Remove the drive belt from the various accessory pulleys, noting how it's routed. Slide back the clamps, then disconnect and remove the upper radiator hose. Detach the lower part of the fan shroud from the upper fan shroud. Disconnect the electrical connector from the fan motor and unclip the harness from the shroud. Then disconnect the coolant reservoir hose from the radiator filler neck and unclip it from the fan shroud. Remove the upper fan shroud bolts and pull the shroud up and out of its lower mounts. Remove the alternator lower bracket bolt and loosen, but don't remove, the bracket to timing chain cover bolt. Remove the alternator upper mounting bolt. Rotate the alternator enough to access the electrical connections. Remove the nut securing the battery cable to the alternator B+ terminal. Disconnect the electrical connector from the alternator. Detach the wiring harness clip, then carefully guide the alternator out of the engine. Install the alternator. Connect the electrical connections and attach the wiring harness clip at the rear of the alternator. Tighten the nut on the battery positive cable securely, then position the protective cover onto the terminal. Place the alternator onto its mounting and install the mounting bolts. Tighten the alternator mounting bolts and the bracket to timing chain cover bolt securely. Install the upper fan shroud into the engine, guiding it into the lower mounts. Install the shroud bolts and tighten them securely. Connect the coolant reservoir hose to the radiator filler neck and attach it to the fan shroud. Connect the electrical connector to the fan motor and attach the harness to the shroud. Connect the upper radiator hose to the engine and radiator, securing it with the hose clamps. Install the lower part of the fan shroud to the upper fan shroud, clipping it securely in place. Loosely install the drive belt, making sure that it's properly routed among the pulleys. Rotate the tensioner to allow the belt to be slipped onto the remaining pulley, then release the tensioner to apply tension to the belt. Make sure the belt is centered into all the pulley grooves. Install the air intake duct to the ports between the air filter housing and throttle body. Tighten the hose clamps securely. Connect the negative battery cable to the battery terminal and tighten the cable nut securely. Cooling system filling. Slowly refill the radiator with the proper type and mixture of coolant until coolant reaches the lip on the radiator filler neck. Install the radiator cap. Add coolant to the reservoir up to the lower mark, then install the reservoir cap. Start and run the engine in a well-ventilated area until the thermostat opens. Coolant will begin flowing through the radiator and the upper radiator hose will become hot. Rev the engine to approximately 2500 RPM for 10 seconds, then let it idle. Do this a few times. Turn the engine off and let it cool completely. Slowly remove the radiator cap. Add more coolant mixture to bring the level back up to the lip on the radiator filler neck. Squeeze the upper radiator hose to expel air, then add more coolant mixture if necessary. Install the radiator cap. Make sure the coolant level in the reservoir is within the correct range. When the engine is hot, the coolant will expand, and the level should be at or near the maximum mark.